You can't really divide 17 games in two, but we're kind of at the halfway mark of the NFL. What do you make of the way things have gone so far?
Everybody's still in it. And I don't care what anybody's record is right now. Tennessee's 8-2. This team is doing well. Rams played well, then played a terrible game, their last one. Everyone is in this. And I love the fact that, for years people like to have these elite teams. Oh, this is the elite Cowboys, the elite this, the elite that. No. I want everybody in it. I want a team right now who's close to 500, like the Colts, maybe make a push somewhere down the line. Not against the Bills, relax, Duffy, not against the Bills, but against somewhere along the line, and maybe just make a couple of teams nervous, like, Baltimore or Kansas City's right around 500. So I love the fact that right now, halfway through, there is no clear number one team in the NFL.
Tennessee's on top of the AFC, and that's a team that totally puzzles me. They lose Derrick Henry, they keep winning, and I don't know how they're doing it.
Well, they lost Derrick Henry 2 weeks ago, right? Like, give it time for other teams to figure him out. I know that they beat Buffalo in Tennessee. Tennessee doesn't scare me. As a matter of fact, there's not a single team in the AFC that scares me right now. Everybody can be beaten, which has been shown the last couple of weeks, right? Like, look, you guys know how much I love chaos, so I am very much enjoying this entire NFL season before. But the thing I enjoy more, I believe, is that there isn't a dominant player. Forget dominant team. There's no dominant player in the NFL. There's nobody that's just rolling out the ball every week and going and scoring and making. There's no Tom Brady from 5 years ago. There's no Patrick Mahomes from the last 2 seasons, right? Derrick Henry, he's hurt, and there was a couple of games early on in the season where Derrick Henry had some underwhelming performances. I love the fact that every week, and look, Mike White, quarterback of the Jets, the last couple of weeks is proof of this, that any week there is going to be someone you've never heard of before that's going to put on a show, and there's going to be legitimate hype behind him because these network shows need to prop somebody up, and there's nobody that they can consistently every week go to and be like, well, this is the guy.
As close as you can get, and we'll do the Bills later, I think as close as you can get, we're going to see him this week, is that Jonathan Taylor out of Indianapolis.
That's going to be interesting to find out, too. Also, this year, when it comes to MVP, maybe somebody on the defense would win it this year. This would be the opportune time because you're right, there's not too many stars that are out there as well. So look out for a defensive player possibly.
Not to confuse, I think not too many is like, there's more than we can handle.
Yeah.
I mean, Allen's having a good year. Prescott, you can run down a list. With the balance comes a whole lot of good play.
With the second half of the season, Allen has been inconsistent at times. I even think Duffy would admit that. There hasn't been a bunch of games where he's kind of like totally impressive. There have been great games, but there's also been bad games for Allen. That's what happens, but it's happened with Mahomes. It happened with Tom Brady last week. So, I mean, it happens to players that do run into these situations.
Did you just compare the season that Patrick Mahomes is having to the season that Josh? You didn't really do that. You didn't really just say that they're having comparable seasons.
They're not having consistent seasons.
I mean, if you're good, look, that's like, who is? That's like saying you and me aren't quite NFL offensive linemen. Like, yeah, it's obviously true. Like, there's a truth in that statement, but it's completely insane.
Name me a consistent player right now in the NFL that you say will win the MVP.
I agree with you that the race is wide open.
Correct.
How dare you compare the season that Patrick Mahomes is having to the season that Josh Allen is? How dare you?
You mean to tell me that comparing Josh Allen to an MVP Super Bowl winning quarterback is just not feasible?
Jeff Hostetler won a Super Bowl with the Giants. I'm not going to compare. That's not a good comparison either.
Can we pick somebody in the last 2.5 decades?
Well, I'm just saying, you want to compare him to a season that Mahomes had a year or two ago? Great. You want to compare him to this? What are you, nuts?
Great. He went to 2 Super Bowls for crying out loud.
I'm saying
Josh Allen hasn't been to one.
That was great. This season, not great. Not close.
So let's take Buffalo out of the equation, and just as we quickly wrap up the first segment, give me a Super Bowl pairing that does not involve the Bills.
Oh, come on. That's not fair. I will go just for the fun.
Okay, just to give you a little extra time. I'll take a Dallas-Baltimore.
I will go, just for the argument, Tennessee and Green Bay.
Tennessee doesn't have what it takes to go deep in the playoffs. They're susceptible every game. Baltimore doesn't have the horses to make that long run. I'm going to say a name, and it's going to sound insane. Pittsburgh, Dallas, Super Bowl.
What the?
Look, man,
I'm the one that needs to be yelled at over Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. He says Pittsburgh Steelers.
If you have to play tough and run the ball and play defense in the playoffs, which you do, that's Pittsburgh. They're a bad matchup against really good teams. I can attest. I watched it in person against Buffalo opening day. And they're coming around. Granted, you got Mason Rudolph putting on that whatever show against the Lions earlier this week. I'm telling you, man, as the season winds down, you're going to see that Pittsburgh is a better team than people gave them credit for.
This will be interesting because you'll wear that the same way. Remember Bob Blyer? We had Bob Blyer on with the year that he picked the Cincinnati Bengals to get to the Super Bowl.
I will say Dallas is a lot better than I thought they were at the beginning of this year, so I will stick with Dallas all the way, but I'm not quite sure.